Picture this. You're crammed into a middle seat on a packed commercial flight, the kind where the air smells like recycled coffee and everyone's elbow is fighting for armrest dominance. That's exactly where Captain Elena Vasquez found herself. That fateful afternoon, squeezed into seat 22C on a red-eye from D.C. to L.A., her military uniform tucked away in her carry-on because she just wanted to blend in like any other weary traveler. But oh, how wrong she was. Little did she know, this ordinary trip was about to spiral into the stuff of legends, a tale of humiliation turned triumph that would have Air Force One itself rerouted just for her. It all started innocently enough. Elena, a decorated Air Force pilot with over a decade of service, had just wrapped up a grueling briefing at the Pentagon, her mind buzzing with classified intel on hypersonic tech that could change aerial warfare forever. She boarded the plane incognito, hoping for a nap, but the guy next to her in 22B, a burly businessman with a perpetual scowl, had other plans, spilling his oversized gut into her space and barking orders at the flight attendants like he owned the skies. Elena bit her tongue at first, drawing on that ironclad discipline forged in cockpits where one wrong move means disaster. But when he sneered at her for taking up too much room and demanded she switch seats because women like you should know their place, the humiliation hit like a Mach 2 afterburner. The cabin erupted in awkward silence as passengers pretended not to notice, and Elena, cheeks burning, whispered a retort that only fueled his mockery, turning heads and whispers her way. But here's the hook that grabs you. Elena's not just any pilot. Her call sign, Viper Queen, isn't some cute nickname. It's a badge of honor from leading stealth missions that saved countless lives, and in that moment of degradation she had no idea it was about to summon the most powerful escort in the world. As the plane taxied down the runway, Elena pulled out her phone, firing off a quick text to her squadron back at base, venting about the jerk in 22B without realizing her words. Were about to trigger a chain reaction bigger than any dogfight she'd ever flown. The flight lifted off smoothly, but turbulence wasn't far behind. Not from the weather, but from the storm brewing in the air traffic control towers below. Elena tried to distract herself with a dog-eared novel about World War II aces, her heroes. Like the Tuskegee Airmen who faced far worse prejudice, but the businessman's snide comments kept echoing, chipping away at her composure. She glanced out the window at the clouds whipping by, reminiscing about her first solo flight, the rush of freedom that made all the sacrifices worth it, from grueling training at the academy to deployments where she outmaneuvered enemies in F-35s. Yet here she was, reduced to a punchline in coach class, her achievements invisible to these civilians who saw only a quiet woman in jeans and a hoodie. The flight attendant offered her a sympathetic smile and an extra pretzel pack, but it did little to soothe the sting. Elena had faced sexism before, in briefings where male colleagues dismissed her strategies, but this public shaming felt raw, exposed. As the plane cruised at 35,000 feet, she closed her eyes, forcing deep breaths, unaware that her casual text had pinged through secure channels, alerting her superiors to a potential security breach because, wait for it, that businessman wasn't just rude, he was unknowingly sitting next to someone whose identity could compromise national secrets if things escalated. Back at base, alarms blared in the command center as protocols kicked in. Elena's call sign wasn't public knowledge, but mentioning it in an unsecured message set off red flags, especially with her recent involvement in top-secret drone ops. The duty officer scrambled, patching through to higher-ups, and before long, the situation escalated to the Joint Chiefs, who realized this wasn't just a petty dispute. It could be a setup, a probe by foreign agents testing vulnerabilities. Paranoia? Maybe. But in Elena's world, better safe than sorry. Meanwhile, on board, the humiliation peaked when the businessman, emboldened by free drinks, leaned over and slurred, "Sweetheart, why don't you fetch me another whiskey? That's what you're good for, right?" The cabin collectively gasped, and Elena, her fighter pilot instincts flaring, stood up, her voice steady as she said, "Sir, I've flown missions that would make your boardroom battles look like child's play. Back off." But he laughed, drawing more attention, and Elena sat back down, fuming, her hands trembling not from fear, but rage. Little did she know that text had now reached the White House Situation Room, where advisors debated the risks. Elena's expertise on next-gen fighters made her a high-value asset, and any threat, even perceived, warranted action. The president, mid-briefing on international tensions, greenlit the diversion. Air Force One, en route to a summit, would alter course to rendezvous and escort her flight to safety. As the plane droned on, Elena stared at her reflection in the window, questioning if she should have handled it differently, but deep down, she knew standing up was right. It's what got her the call sign in the first place, earned during a daring rescue where she weaved through enemy fire like a viper striking. The hours ticked by, snacks distributed, movies flickering on tiny screens, but tension simmered in row 22. Finally, the captain's voice crackled over the intercom. "Folks, we've got some unexpected company. Air Force One is diverting to Escort, us due to a VIP on board." Gasps rippled through the cabin, eyes darting to Elena as whispers spread, and the businessman's face drained of color when he realized who he'd messed with. But that's just the beginning. Stick around, because this story's about to soar into epic territory, revealing how one woman's resilience turned a nightmare flight into a heroic legend that redefined respect in the skies. The shockwave from the captain's announcement hit the cabin like a sonic boom. Passengers craning necks to peer out windows, murmuring speculations about celebrities or politicians hidden among them. But Elena sat frozen in 22C, her heart pounding as puzzle pieces clicked into place. Her text, her call sign, the protocols. She'd forgotten in her frustration. She hadn't meant to cause a fuss. It was just a vent, a way to blow off steam after enduring that oaf's barrage of insults, from questioning her real job to implying she was probably a secretary playing dress-up in the military. But now, as the plane banked slightly, adjusting course under ATC directives, Elena's mind raced back to her training, the endless simulations where split-second decisions meant life or death, and she wondered if this was overkill or a genuine threat assessment. The businessman, suddenly silent, shifted uncomfortably. His earlier bravado evaporated like morning fog over a runway, and Elena couldn't help but feel a twinge of satisfaction mixed with guilt. Had her words really warranted pulling the president's plane off its path? Air Force One, that iconic blue and white behemoth symbolizing American might, was no joke. She'd seen it from afar during exercises, but never dreamed it'd be her guardian angel. As flight attendants bustled about, reassuring folks it was just a precaution, Elena pulled her hoodie tighter, avoiding eye contact with the curious stares, her thoughts drifting to her early days in the Air Force, enlisting right out of high. School against her parents' wishes, proving herself in a male-dominated field where every promotion felt like climbing Everest. She'd earned Viper Queen after a classified op in the Middle East, dodging SAMs to extract a downed pilot, her F-22 handling like an extension of her body, strikes precise and deadly. But in this aluminum tube hurtling through the stratosphere, she felt vulnerable, exposed, the humiliation from earlier lingering like jet exhaust. Passengers buzzed with excitement, phones out despite rules, snapping pics of nothing yet, while kids pressed noses to glass, dreaming of fighter jets. Elena's seatmate muttered an apology under his breath, but she ignored him, focusing on the horizon where soon the silhouette of Air Force One would appear. Back on the ground, chaos ensued in control rooms, FAA coordinators rerouting traffic, Secret Service agents briefing the president on the Viper Queen protocol, a little-known safeguard for elite pilots carrying sensitive knowledge. Elena had no clue her call sign was flagged in such high-level databases, a remnant from post-9/11 security measures ensuring assets like her weren't compromised. As minutes stretched into an hour, the plane's PA system updated. "We're honored to have presidential escort en route, ETA 20 minutes. Whispers turned to cheers, but Elena's stomach nodded. This wasn't glory, it was embarrassment amplified, her personal drama now national news fodder. She recalled similar stories from veteran buddies, pilots pulled from commercial flights for emergencies, but none involved the commander-in-chief's ride. The businessman fidgeted, asking a flight attendant if it was because of her, pointing subtly, and Elena overheard, her resolve hardening. Yes, it was because of her. Because undervaluing women like her had consequences. Outside, the sky cleared, stars twinkling above as the plane descended slightly for the rendezvous, engines humming steadily. Elena thought of her squadron. Probably, laughing their asses off at the base bar, toasting to the Queen's Royal Escort. But deeper, she pondered the bigger picture. In a world where female pilots were still rarities, this incident could spark change, highlighting the unseen battles. They fought daily. As Air Force One's lights finally blinked on the horizon, approaching like a majestic eagle, the cabin erupted in applause, phones recording the historic moment. Elena allowed a small smile, the humiliation fading as pride swelled. She'd turned a bad seat into a throne. The two planes flew in formation, wingtip to wingtip, a display of power that silenced doubters. On board Air Force One, the president chuckled at the brief, admiring Elena's grit, while Secret Service scanned for threats. Back in 22C, Elena relaxed for the first time, watching the escort through the window, her call sign's magic unfolding in real time. The flight path adjusted, heading to a secure airfield instead of LAX, protocols dictating a full debrief. Passengers gawked, some thanking Elena quietly, turning her from victim to hero in whispers. The businessman slunk lower, lesson learned the hard way. As they neared landing, Elena reflected on resilience, how one hook of a story could inspire generations, of aspiring pilots proving that even in humiliation, queens rise. With Air Force One gliding alongside like a protective shadow, the commercial jet's atmosphere transformed from tense to electric, passengers treating it like a VIP tour, oohing and eyeing at the sight, while Elena in 22C processed the whirlwind, her mind flashing to the call sign's origin, a blistering dogfight simulation where she outfoxed 3 enemies in under 2 minutes, earning the moniker from awestruck instructors. The humiliation from the businessman now seemed trivial against this backdrop of aerial majesty, but it lingered, a reminder of societal undercurrents that even top guns couldn't escape. The captain announced they'd land at Edwards Air Force Base for security reasons, eliciting mixed reactions, excitement. From aviation buffs, groans from those missing connections. Elena's phone buzzed with encrypted messages from base. "Queen, you okay? POTUS send-off incoming. Debrief at 800. She smirked, typing back assurances, but inwardly marveled at the escalation. Her vent text had snowballed because protocols treated call signs like nuclear codes, especially for pilots like her involved in quantum radar tech that could render stealth obsolete. The businessman, pale as a ghost, avoided her gaze, perhaps realizing his chauvinism had poked a hornet's nest. Flight attendants distributed complimentary drinks, toasting the special guest, and Elena accepted a ginger ale, her hands steady. Now, fighter calm restored. Outside, F-16 escorts joined the formation, peeling off from nearby bases, their afterburners lighting the dusk sky like fireworks. Elena watched, heart swelling with camaraderie. These were her people, the brotherhood and sisterhood of the blue. She thought back to boot camp humiliations, drill sergeants breaking her down to build her up, teaching that true strength came from within, not seats or status. As the plane's synchronized speeds, radio chatter leaked through the PA. Commercial. Flight 492, this is Air Force One, honored to escort Viper Queen home. Cheers erupted again, and Elena waved shyly as passengers applauded, the businessman's clap reluctant but present. This reversal felt poetic, her call sign elevating her from degraded passenger to national treasure. Ground crews at Edwards scrambled. Red carpets metaphorically rolled out, while media alerts pinged, reporters sniffing a story, though classified details would stay buried. Elena pondered the aftermath. Would this boost women's roles in military aviation or paint her as dramatic? Either way, it hooked viewers into the narrative of empowerment. The descent began, wheels down, the escort peeling away with salutes, via wing waggles. Touchdown smooth, military precision, and as the plane taxied, Elena gathered her things, ready for the spotlight. Deplaning first, she was met by MPs and brass, salutes crisp, the businessman slinking out last, lesson etched. In the debrief room, she recounted the incident, superiors nodding, protocol followed to the letter, no regrets. The president even sent a personal note. Viper Queen, skies are safer with you in them. Elena laughed, humiliation forgotten, triumph etched forever. But the story didn't end there. Word spread through ranks, inspiring recruits, her flight becoming lore. Back home, she shared with family, her mom's pride beaming, dad's jokes about presidential taxis. Elena returned to duty, cockpit calling, but with newfound advocacy, speaking at events on gender equality in uniform. The hook? One seat, one. Call sign, one diversion that proved humility's power over hubris. Post-landing, the buzz at Edwards Air Force Base was palpable, personnel whispering about the Viper Queen's escort as Elena stepped into the crisp night air, humidity low under desert stars. Her humiliation a distant memory amid the hero's welcome. Brass shook her hand, commending composure, while techs analyzed her phone for breaches. None found, just a routine vent turned extraordinary. The businessman, detained briefly for questioning, apologized profusely under glare of uniforms, his corporate ego deflated like a punctured tire. Elena nodded acceptance, no grudges. Life's too short for that in her high-stakes world. Transported to quarters, she unwound with a hot shower, mind replaying the flight's twists, from 22C's confines to presidential wings. Her call sign echoed, in thoughts, a symbol of venomous precision earned in grueling quals, simulators pushing limits till sweat-soaked flight suits. Morning brought media frenzy. Leaks turned the story viral, headlines screaming, Air Force One diverts for humiliated. Pilot! Elena's superiors managed spin, emphasizing security without details, but social media exploded with support, women pilots sharing similar tales. She fielded calls from networks, declining interviews to focus on mission prep. But the hook stuck, a everyday slight morphing into epic vindication. Back in the squadron, ribbing was endless. Next time, Queen, book first class. But respect deepened, her story boosting morale. Elena reflected on broader implications, how such incidents highlighted systemic biases, pushing for reforms. In training and culture. Flying resumed, her F-35 slicing clouds, call sign crackling over comms, a reminder of resilience. The diversion became case study in protocols, ensuring elite asset safety. Years later, she'd mentor young cadets, sharing the tale to inspire, proving one voice can command skies. As the dust settled from the diversion drama, Elena Vasquez found herself thrust into an unexpected spotlight. Her 22C ordeal dissected in military circles and beyond, the call sign Viper Queen now synonymous with unbreakable spirit. She returned to active duty with a renewed vigor, leading training exercises where she emphasized mental toughness alongside aerial maneuvers, drawing from that flight's lessons to teach recruits how to turn adversity into advantage. The businessman, whose name faded into obscurity, reportedly underwent sensitivity training at his firm, a small ripple from the wave Elena's story created. Media outlets clamored for exclusives, but she chose discretion, letting the legend grow, organically through whispers in hangars and online forums where pilots traded war stories. Her family beamed with pride, her siblings teasing about famous sis, while Elena grounded herself in routine, pre-flight checks, briefings on emerging threats like cyber-integrated warfare. The hook of her tale captivated audiences, a modern fable of empowerment that resonated far beyond aviation, inspiring books, podcasts, and even a documentary pitch. In quiet moments, she'd gaze at stars from base, remembering the Escort's lights, a testament to the unseen web of protection around those who serve. Promotions followed, her expertise in stealth tech earning her a spot on advisory panels where she advocated for diversity, ensuring future Viper Queens faced fewer barriers. The incident faded, but its essence endured, a beacon for those humiliated in shadows, proving call signs and courage can summon storms. Time wove the 22C incident into Air Force folklore, Elena's call sign etched in annals as a symbol of serendipitous justice, her humiliation a pivot point for cultural shifts within the ranks. She rose to command her own squadron, mentoring a diverse crew where gender was irrelevant, skill paramount, often referencing that flight to illustrate poise under pressure. The diversion protocol was refined, incorporating her insights to balance security with practicality, preventing overreactions while safeguarding assets. Public interest waned, but Elena's impact lingered. Scholarships in her name for aspiring female pilots, speeches at graduations emphasizing resilience. Personally, she found balance, marrying a fellow aviator who joked about escort dates, their life a blend of deployments and domesticity. The businessman? Rumors said he became an ally, donating to veteran causes, redemption arc complete. Elena's story hooked generations, a narrative thread in the tapestry of military history, reminding all that from seats of shame, legends take flight. In the end, the saga of Seat 22C transcended one woman's journey, becoming a timeless emblem of triumph over tribulation, where a simple call sign summoned the might of nations to right a wrong. Elena Vasquez retired as a general, her legacy inspiring countless to pursue skies unbound by prejudice, her hook, that initial humiliation, evolving into a call to action for equality in uniform and beyond. Air Force One's diversion remained, a cherished anecdote whispered in cockpits worldwide, proving that true power lies not in seats or status, but in the unyielding spirit that commands respect from the highest echelons.